Hello students, good morning. Welcome back to our lecture on irrational numbers. In our last class, we have seen how to represent irrational numbers on the number line, right? And also I have shared some assignment questions for you for your homework, right? So hope you have tried. Let's look at the solutions for those in detail. See, the first question is, what would be the sum of two rational numbers? What would be the sum of two rational numbers? So, can anyone answer this? Sum of two rational numbers. As we already know, rational number means what? It is some number which can be expressed as ratio of two integers. Say the first number is x by y, and the second rational number is, say, some a by b. So these both are fractions, and we know sum of two fractions is again a fraction, right? Sum of two fractions is a fraction. So students, what can we conclude? Hence the sum of two rational numbers is rational. Okay, hope this is clear. Let's look at the next question. The product of two rational numbers is rational. The product of two rational numbers is rational again. Why is it so? Again, consider two rational numbers. Say one is x by y and other is, say, a by b. What would be the product? How to do product of two fractions? It is simply the product of the numerators divided by the product of the denominators. This is again a fraction. Fraction means it is a ratio of two integers. So this is again a rational number. Okay students, these are pretty straightforward questions. Now next look at our next question. The sum of a rational and an irrational. The sum of a rational and an irrational is always irrational. It is always irrational. How to prove it? Just now in our last class we have discussed how to prove some number as irrational. So similar procedure will be following. Let x be irrational and r be rational. The rational number we are assuming it to be r, and an irrational number we will assuming it to be x. Now assume that x plus r is equal to t is a rational. Say suppose we don't know whether it is rational or irrational. Okay. So in such a scenario we will assume any given number to be rational. Okay. Whenever we are in a dilemma, when something is rational or irrational, the first step we'll use is assume that to be rational. Now say x plus r is equal to t, which is rational. Now students, see, x is equal to t minus r. If x plus r is equal to t, we can write x as t minus r. But what is t? T we have assumed as rational. What is r? It is again a rational. It is given. So t minus r, what would be t minus r? T minus r is simply the difference of two fractions. So difference of two fractions is again a fraction. So t minus r is rational. But students, on the left hand side it is x, but given that x is irrational, can an irrational number be expressed as a rational, that is a ratio of two integers? The answer is no. So hence our assumption that t is rational is wrong. Since t and r are rational, the difference is rational. So this contradicts the assumption that x is rational. Okay students, hope this is clear. Let's look at our next question. The product of non-zero rational and an irrational. The product of a non-zero rational and an irrational is irrational. How it is irrational? Let's look at it. Again, let us assume the non-zero rational to be some x by y. Okay. And then what about the irrational number? Irrational number we don't know, let that be some t. Okay. Now what would be the product of x by y into t? we are not sure whether it would be rational or irrational. So what would be our first step? We'll assume that to be rational. So let us assume this to be some r, rational. Okay, students, let us assume this to be r. Now from this we can write this as by cross multiplying. We can write t is equal to r times y by x. Okay. Now students, observe over here. In the right hand side, r is rational by assumption. X by y, if it goes to the other side, it becomes a reciprocal y by x. This is again a fraction. So this is rational. Right, students? And what about product of two rationals? Product of two rationals is, in the earlier question we have seen, product of two fractions is again a fraction. So hence, this right hand side is a rational number. Right hand side is rational. But what about t? T is irrational. Can an irrational number be equal to a rational number? The answer is obviously no. So hence, our assumption that this to be rational is wrong. So hence, this product of a non-zero rational number and an irrational is always irrational. Students, hope you are able to follow this logical reasoning. Okay, these are very simple. Just try it on your own, try to work it yourself. I am sure you will be able to appreciate this logical reasoning. Now, sum of two irrationals, it would be rational or an irrational number? Sum of two irrationals, it would be rational or an irrational? This we will not be able to conclude. Why is it so? Let's pick our own examples. Say suppose, say one irrational number is say root 2. Okay. Let the other irrational number is say 2 minus root 2. This is again an irrational number. Okay. Or in place of 2 minus root 2, even you can consider minus root 2. Okay, students. Let's take a more pretty simple example. Root 2 is irrational. Root 2 is irrational. Minus root 2 is again an irrational number. Now, what about x plus y? X plus y is root 2 minus root 2. What is this? This is 0. But what is 0? 0 we can express it as 0 by 1. This is a rational. Okay. Now students, let's look at another example. Say x is, say root 2 only. And y is, say 3. So what would be x plus y? This is sum of a rational and an irrational. Sorry, we need to pick y as rational, right? So let us choose y to be again root 2. What is the sum of these two? X plus y would be equal to 2 root 2. But 2 root 2, is it a rational or an irrational? 2 is a rational number, root 2 is an irrational. Product of a rational and an irrational is always irrational. In the earlier bit we have seen. So hence we can conclude that depending on the numbers, either it could be rational or irrational. So sum of two irrationals is sometimes rational and sometimes irrational. It depends on the context of the numbers what we will be choosing. Okay students, hope this is clear. So let's look at the next one. The product of two irrational numbers. Again, product of two irrational numbers. This is sometimes rational and sometimes irrational. How do we choose the numbers? Again, pick your own simple examples. Say, let x is equal to root 2 and let y is equal to root 2. What would be x into y? X into y would be root 2 into root 2. This is irrational, this is irrational. But what about the product? Root 2 into root 2 is 2. This is rational. Okay students, this is rational. Whereas, let's look at another example. Say x is equal to root 2 and say y is equal to say some root 3. What is xy? Xy is root 2 into root 3. What is xy? Root 2 into root 3. This is equal to root 6. But root 6 is an irrational number. So again, depending on the choice of our numbers, the result is varying. So the product of two irrational numbers, it could be rational as well as irrational. It depends on the context of the numbers what we are choosing. Okay students, hope this is clear. So this is all your homework assignments. So let's move on to the next assignment, next concept, exponents. Again, this is very fundamental. Okay, very fundamental thing. You should be appreciate these, and you will be using in fact by default in every part of mathematics. So try to understand the basics very well, which I will be discussing right now. Okay, so first of all, before we appreciate any concept in mathematics and physics, okay, try to understand the definition very well. Okay, each and every term you need to give importance to the definition. I mean, every term of definition you need to very sincerely and honestly you need to learn the definition. Okay, once you are very clear with the definition, then you will be able to solve any innumerable number of examples. So what is the exponent? Exponent means exponent of a number says how many times to use the number in a multiplication. How many times we need to use the number in a multiplication. That is, say suppose 8 square. In 8 square, we'll say 2 as the exponent. 2 is the exponent. So here what does this 2 is stating? 2 states as that we need to multiply 8 with itself how many times? 2 times. Okay students. So what does an exponent says is how many times we need to use the number in a multiplication. In this example of 8 square, how many times we need to multiply 8? 2 times. 8 with itself 2 times. So hope this is clear. 8 square could be called 8 to the power 2 or 8 to the second power or simply 8 squared. Okay students, similarly let's look at another example, say 5 cube. What does 5 cube means? We need to multiply 5 with itself 3 times. This is a shorthand notation. Whenever there is a repetitive multiplication of the same number, I mean the number with itself some number of times, we will be using a shorthand notation. And this number which used to represent how many times we need to multiply, that number we'll call it as exponent. Okay. So hope you are clear with the definition of exponent. And exponent sometimes we'll call it as powers or indices. Exponents will also call it as either powers or indices. Now, say look at this example, 5 cube. 5 cube means we need to multiply 5 with itself how many number of times? 3 times. So 5 into 5 into 5. Okay. Leave about the value. Right now we are interested in what does this notation mean. Okay. So 5 cube could be called 5 to the third power or 5 to the power 3 or simply 5 cubed. Let's look at another example. 2 raised to the power 4 means we need to multiply 2 with itself how many number of times? 4 number of times. That is 2 into 2 into 2 into 2. This is 16. In other words, 2 power 4 could be called 2 to the 4th power or 2 to the power 4 or simply 2 to the 4th power. Okay. Let's look at next slide. Exponents make it easier to write and use many multiplications. Right? So for example, 9 raised to the power 6 means 9 will multiply with itself 6 number of times. See, if you look at this expression, this is a bit cumbersome. Right? It is occupying so much of space. But if you look at this is a very short and cryptic notation. 9 raised to the power 6. So this is how exponents helps us. Okay. But if you have to understand, this is the normal number. 9 raised to the power 6 means 9 multiplied with itself 6 times. So you can multiply any number by itself as many times as you want using exponents. So in general, students, give importance to this. So in general, a raised to the power n, it tells you to multiply a by itself. How many times? How many times? What is the exponent? That is n. So you need to multiply a with itself n number of times. Okay. So another way of writing. Sometimes people use the cap symbol. This symbol will call it as cap because it represents, see, it depicts the form of cap, whatever we wear, the hat or else. Okay. So even some people use the hat notation also, but more frequently you will come across this word cap. Now, 2 raised to the power 4 is same as 2 power 4. Don't get confused between these notations. Either cap, either you will write the cap, or if you don't write also, it is the same. 2 raised to the power 4. Let's look at the next slide. So negative exponents. Negative. What could be the opposite of multiplying? It is dividing, right? A negative exponent means how many times to divide 1 by the number. How many times we need to divide 1 by the number. That is, for example, 8 power minus 1. This is equivalent to 1 divided by 8. 1 divided by 8. That is, see, 8 power minus 1. Whenever you will come across negative exponents, till you get used to these exponents, think in this manner. Start with 1. Okay. And consider this number, whatever this number. Here in this example, the number is 8. So divide by 8. But how many times you will divide? Look at the exponent, that is 1. So divide it by only 1 time. So let's look at another example. 5 power minus 3. 5 power minus 3. Start with 1. Divide with 5. But how many times you will divide? Look at the exponent. 3 times. Hope this is clear, students. Similarly, let's look at another example. See, the same thing I have listed down. 5 power minus 3 is 1 divided by 5. How many times? 3 times. Okay. Let's look at the next slide. So in general, again, see here what we are trying to do is, we are trying to learn the concept of exponents. And which method we are, into that, we are following a method through examples. Initially we are discussing some examples and observe the patterns clearly. Okay. And through that patterns we are trying to generalize the formulas just for the sake of better understanding. Try to visualize the numbers. So negative exponents. A raised to the power minus n. A raised to the power minus n, we can write this as we have already discussed, a raised to the power minus n. What does it mean? Initially, divide 1 with the number. How many times we will divide? N times. But students, any number multiplied by itself n times, we can write this as a raised to the power n. This is what we have learned in the positive exponents. Okay. So that means any negative exponent we can flip and we can convert in terms of a positive exponent term. So a raised to the power minus n is equal to 1 by a raised to the power n. This is a very, very important formula. Okay, you will be using this very frequently in your upcoming problems. A raised to the power minus n is equal to 1 by a raised to the power n. Or we can do in other way, calculate the positive exponent and just take the reciprocal. Let's look at some examples. 4 power minus 2. 4 power minus 2. Calculate the positive exponent, that is 16. And take its reciprocal, 1 by 16. So this is your answer. 10 raised to the power minus 3. What you will do? Calculate 10 raised to the power 3 and take its negative exponent. and then minus 2 whole power minus 3, minus 2 whole power minus 3. Again, consider its positive exponent, that is minus 8, and then take its reciprocal 1 by minus 8 or minus 1 by 8. Okay. So hope this is clear. I'm sure you might be clear with this. We have dealt sufficient number of examples to understand what does positive exponent means and what does negative exponents means. Okay, students. Let's move on to the next slide. What if the exponent is 1 or 0? What if the exponent is 1 or 0? See, if the exponent is 1, what do you mean? You need to multiply the number only one time. So when there is some number and the exponent is 1, so what does it mean? Multiply a with itself how many times? Only one time, means you will get the same number. Okay. If the exponent is 1, then you just have the number itself. Okay, students. If it is 2, you will multiply a with itself 2 times. But your exponent is 1. So you will be ending up with the number itself. So whenever the exponent is 1, you just have the number itself. Example, 9 raised to the power 1 is 9. Now, what if the exponent is 0? What if the exponent is 0? Then you get 1. Students, all these exponents are pretty easy. How to think is, see, if you have to think of a power n, start with 1. Okay. And then multiply a how many times? N times. A into n times. This is what a raised to the power n means. Similarly, now look at 9 raised to the power 0. 9 raised to the power 0. Start with 1. Now, multiply 9 how many times? 0 number of times. So, you need not multiply anything over here. So, the only result is 1. So, this is how we can conclude that if the exponent is 0, we get the answer as 1. If the exponent is 1, we will get the number itself. Then what about 0 power 0? What about 0 power 0? See, students, 0 power 0. Can anyone guess? See, we can think in one way. 0 power 0 means, see, any number raised to the power 0, it is 1. So, this is some number, we are raising it to the power 0. So, it should be 1. Right? Is it true? So, this is one way of explaining. But this is 0. 0 means we are trying to multiply with nothing. That is 0 in value. So, that is the reason some people treat that as 0, some people treat this as 1. So, there is very ambiguity and there are many healthy debates as well. Okay. There is no useful conclusion out of the healthy debates, whatever happened. So, mathematically, 0 power 0 as left as indeterminate. So, whenever there is an ambiguity in defining some value, they will term it as indeterminate. So, 0 raised to the power 0 is indeterminate. Why it is indeterminate? It could be 0 as well as 1 based on the understanding whatever we had in our representation of these exponents. So, 0 power 0, it is a typical number. You will rarely come across that. But if you will come across it, don't conclude it to be either 0 or 1. It is an indeterminate number. Okay, students? Now, it all makes sense. Let's look at the same thing, whatever we have learned just now. My favorite method is to start with 1 and then multiply or divide as many times as the exponent says. For example, 5 square. Start with 1 and multiply with 5. How many times? 2 times. So, it is 25. And then 5 power 1. Start with 1. Multiply with 5. How many times? Only 1 time. So, 5. 5 power 0. Start with 1. Multiply with 5. How many times? None. Because 0 times. So, you will end up with 1 itself. 5 power minus 1. Start with 1. Divide by 5. Because it is negative exponent. Divide with 5. How many times? The exponent is 1. So, only 1 times. 5 power minus 2. that is start with 1 and divide by 5 how many times? 2 times. So this would be equal to 1 by 5 square, which is 1 by 25. If you'll find the decimal representation, you'll end up finding 0.04. Okay students, hope this is clear. Be careful about grouping. Okay, to avoid confusion, we'll be using symbol called parenthesis. You might have observed these symbols on your laptop QWERTY keyboard as well. These we'll call it as parenthesis. Okay, from now on again you will be using these symbols quite frequently in algebra, so get used with these symbols. So now minus 2 whole square, again this is an exponent, positive exponent. So what do? Multiply the number with itself how many times? 2 times. So minus 2 into minus 2, that is equal to 4. Okay student, now see, this is the main tricky thing. That is why the parenthesis is introduced over here. In the second example, this is minus 2 square. In this minus 2 square, 2 is repeating 2 times. It is not minus 2. Whereas if you look at over here minus 2 is repeating 2 times. Whereas in the second example, 2 is repeating 2 times. Okay students, so how do you write? Minus, keep it aside, 2 is repeating 2 times. So you will write as 2 into 2. Okay, 2 into 2 is 4. So this is minus 4. So we have separated it to avoid confusion, separate the number, the exponent with the minus sign. Whereas here, along with minus sign, that is minus 2 is repeating 2 times, whereas here only 2 is repeating 2 times. So separate out these two. Again, now we are trying to generalize. AB whole square we can write as AB into AB whole square, means this AB is repeating 2 times, that is AB into AB. Whereas if you look at AB square, here B is repeating 2 times. So take it under bracket. A into B is repeating 2 times. So B into B. Students, try to clearly follow which number is repeating how many times. Okay, if something is mentioned in the bracket, so that whole is repeating so many times. Okay, if there is no bracket, then only that particular number is repeating. Okay. Okay students, get thorough with these exponents, basic definition of exponent, and in our next lecture let's look at some important laws of exponents, okay, which makes your calculations very easier. Thank you.